Hi, this is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. Well, what I'm going to tell you today is quite disturbing. It's quite difficult to contain, so I will just say that much. There is this big problem looming in China. It's about the Three Gorges Dam. I actually found about that out just 2 days ago. A friend had posted it on Facebook. This was his post here, which said, in the Three Gorges Dam, if it fails, something like 300 million people's lives are in danger. Would be one of the greatest disasters ever. Hopefully, they get it under control before it's too late. It is breaking apart. We have been watching live stream. Severe cavitation on second closest spillway from where you stand. Live stream. You can hear it every 32 seconds, large air pockets exiting. Large pieces breaking off number 6 spillway 4 hours ago. Why not evacuating? Yes, that's a very good question. Now, those of you who are not aware of the Three Gorges Dam, I just pulled this up here on Wikipedia to give you a bit of an insight. So this is the largest hydroelectric gravity dam which was ever built, and it's in China, and it is in this region here. I'll show you. That is where the dam is. It's 180 meters high, and it has downstream 300 million people are living. So this was in Forbes just a while ago. Actually, this problem seems to persist already since quite some time. China floods call into question sustainability of massive Three Gorges Dam. So it has been raining like crazy in China. That's really the reason things have come to that point. The levels in the lake behind the dam have been rising to unsustainable levels. And this is shown here in this article. This is that's Taiwan news. And if we scroll down here, we have this. No, it's not in this one. It's in the Forbes one. I wanted to show you this quickly before we go on. I think it's in this one. Nope. It's this one. One of the three it was. Okay. Funny. I thought I had it before. Anyway, it doesn't matter so much. It's a detail. It shows how high the levels are. I guess normally they're at 145 meters. Now they're 19 meters above at 164 or something. The water levels, and the dam is 181 meters high, and naturally as the higher they go, the more unsustainable the whole thing gets. And seemingly there have been some observations, as I have read before, and it's deformed in some levels already. So I was just curious about the astrology of the whole thing, and I went in there and looked at the charts in question. And the one I first looked at is the aphelion chart for Earth for July the 4th, 2020. That's just 20 days ago or something. That was the moment when Earth was farthest away from the Sun, which, in my understanding, I have done some research on that, are the moments when some encoding happens. It's like a reboot of the system when Earth has come to the farthest place in its yearly orbit, and then, if you want, the gravitational force from the Sun again wins, pulls the Earth closer to it, and then half a year later, around January the 3rd, 4th, somewhere in that range, it changes every year a little bit. That's when again the centrifugal forces win and Earth is slowly going farther away from the Sun again. This is a minor wobble, if you want, but it's the two moments which define the relationship between Earth and Sun. Excuse me. So here, this is the chart of that moment when Earth was farthest away from Earth, which has that predictive quality to it, and you can calculate that moment for any place on Earth, and you will get an understanding what will develop in that place. So this chart is calculated for the coordinates of that dam, and I wrote about this chart already yesterday in my Facebook post. I don't want to go too deep. You can go there and read it. I will post the link. I just want to point out 2-3 major signatures in this chart. So what stands out right away is the 001 Scorpio rise midheaven, and the exact square Saturn makes to this axis, to this consciousness axis of that place. Saturn naturally is a difficult planet, actually not always, but it can be. It's the Saturn is the planet of endings, of radical shifts, and also of karmic issues. There is a Capricorn moon and a Capricorn rising, and then there's all these planets here in Capricorn too. Now this is a global chart at first, so all these planetary positions will show something about the global experiences we go through the next 6 months. However, if we tune into a certain place, we can find out what is happening in that particular place, what the signatures are. So when we have an exact square of Saturn to the midheaven and midnight point, this in itself should warn us big time. Together with the rising in Capricorn, Saturn's sign, the moon in Capricorn, also ruled by Saturn. So this also is hexagram 38, which is opposition, a very difficult hexagram if we overlay the 64 hexagrams. And then what is further concerning here is also Deucalion and Juno. Juno is about people and the way we help and work with each other. It's a planet, actually an asteroid to be clear, which has to do with communities. Deucalion is one of the newer found ones, is the same character as Noah, who was preparing for some big disaster. So we could hope that these two up here are strong enough in their message to get the authorities to act on this and to evacuate people in time before really that whole time bomb goes loose. Now, this is indicating that whatever will happen, it will be within the next 6 months, and naturally, as the situation is with all those rains and even increasing, and I mean we know about weather modification techniques, so I am wondering if this is the big event which the deep state is still planning to just put everything out of order, to derail their downfall, to at least delay it as much as they can, hopefully bring the whole world into chaos. So that is the big danger we are looking at here. Now, I was tuning here into when that most likely could happen, and I came up with August 9. Now it could be a few days prior or a few days later. That's just a marker here. And what I'm looking at here is the moon closest farthest away from Earth, I should say. Yeah, apogee is the farthest away point from Earth the Moon has on a monthly base. This again is one cycle to watch which has quite some predictive power. The Moon at that time in August on the 9th day is at 24 degrees Aries, and what we see here very close by is Mars and the Black Moon in a very narrow conjunction. Now Mars Black Moon, that is the signature of a disaster of any kind, of something really difficult and painful. In Aries, Mars' own sign makes Mars even more important because it's also ruling all the other planets in this sign. So Mars is the dispositor in that sense of the Moon and also of Chiron. Chiron exactly rising. This chart again is calculated for the exact coordinates of the dam. So that Chiron rising, that is another big indication that something could really go wrong in that place on our planet around that time. Now I was curious to look at a chart from China, and we have that chart. That is the Chinese chart from October 1st, 1949, which was the cultural or the takeover from of Mao Zedong, which is used as the base chart for the present situation, the present epoch in this country, which has a very long history, but this is a moment of deep impact, a rebirth if you want. It's a very difficult chart, as we could assume. I don't want to go too deep into this. I just want to show you this alignment in Aries, very similar to what we have in the transiting planets. Just go back to that for a sec. You see, we again have Aries with Mars, dark moon, and the moon in here, and Chiron, and the ascendant in that on that day. And if we go back to the China chart, then again we have Earth, the north node, the dark moon, and Sedna in here. Particularly difficult is this black moon conjunct the north node, which shows that the evolutionary direction they have been taking at that time when they founded the nation was going into really dark and difficult experiences. What now I did is I looked at the progressions of this chart. So these are the secondary progressions, which is 1 year is reflected in 1 day after birth, so to say. So this would be something like 71 days after the moment China was born. And you see the sun has moved from 7 degrees something Libra to 18 degrees Sagittarius. And there's now, let me first show you the chart without the overlay to make it easier to understand. So this is now just the progress chart calculated for August the 9th. And what we see here, which is concerning, is that square the sun, the progress sun makes a progress Saturn. Again, Saturn planet of karmic difficulty and of struggle. Also Mars is here, so we know that already. China is going through really difficult times, and this could further aggravate the whole situation. Again, I could say much more about this chart. I don't want to go too deep, just point out what I was using as reference points to see what's going on here. So here now we go to the overlay, and I want to point out just a few things here too. So okay, I guess in this chart that was the main thing I wanted to say. I looked also into through tertiary progressions and the minor progressions. So in the true tertiary we have the progressed midheaven exactly on Uranus. The tertiary progressed Sun exactly square Mars. That's actually very exact. That's by 4 minutes of arc, which is within days of that day. And then what further stands out here is the black moon here in tertiary progressions opposing the natal moon of the nation. In minor progressions, what stands out here is the Sun Chiron conjunction, Moon Chiron conjunction. Chiron again always showing up when a major difficulty is faced, which has to be experienced and worked through and resolved if possible. So it's a major challenge in that sense. Then what I looked next at is the let me see. Okay, that is now that same chart we looked at before of August 9, now for the Chinese capital, Beijing. I just want to go back here quickly to show you the difference. So in the area where the Three Gorges Dam is, we have 9 degrees Aries rising, 5 degrees something Capricorn midheaven, and if we go to the Beijing chart, we have 19 degrees something rising and 10 degrees something midheaven. So what jumps out here is that Mars, that very difficult Mars black moon conjunction, is even closer to the ascendant. And if we go back to the nations chart, then you see that's where their black moon is natally. And also Sedna. So Sedna, I was not mentioning that yet. Sedna is really another difficult planet, particularly if it's connected with the dark moon and the nodes. So in the second house, the house of well-being and material abundance, naturally with all that dark energy in that house, you can add that up. This shows the difficulty their population is going through, has been going through pretty much since day one. And this coming into focus in this present time. The black moon moves through each sign by transit in about 9 months. So right now it is around 20 degrees. So they just had their black moon return, which happens every 9 years. As I know, I didn't say that yet. So anyway, the long and short, this is a very critical time for China, and it seems everything is coming to a peak around that time, around the 9th of August. This is now the overlay of the inside you have the natal chart of China, outside you have the transiting planets of August the 9th. What stands out here is the transiting Sun is exactly on Pluto. This shows a major transformation, you could say, on one level, but also Pluto is related to Lord Shiva, which is about destruction and clearing the grounds for something new. So Pluto is the lord of the underworld. There's this Mars-Pluto conjunction here in house 7 in the Chinese chart, which again is very difficult. Mars is not well placed in the 7th house, so this shows the suppression, the oppression in Leo the government has over people. Then well, again, I could say way more. I don't want to go too deep into this, but this is the midpoint chart now we're looking at of that moment, August the 9th, when the moon is farthest from Earth, and the natal chart of China, how they relate these two moments. And what is jumping into eye is this Uranus at the 4th house cusp, which shows surprise, unexpected events. Also, I mean, there's again many things I could say. The midpoint black moon is in the same location again as the natal and the transiting one. Now if we overlay all three charts here, bring them all into one wheel, so inside again you have the natal chart of China, in the center wheel you have the transiting planets of August 9, outside you have the midpoint planets. What jumps out here is this Jupiter at the ascendant. Jupiter is an interesting force in this whole arrangement of energies. Jupiter is bringing attention, of making everyone look into that direction, which further really underlines the gravity of the situation. So if something goes wrong, everybody, the whole world will see it, and it will be big in the news. It will bring them to the headlines. That's kind of what I see this Jupiter here exactly conjunct the ascendant as standing for. Midpoint Mars here, aligned also with transiting Mars, with transiting black moon, with transiting moon. Moon Mars is a very difficult aspect. On one hand, it shows the stir which goes through the people, they're feeling like they're having to do something. It's a stressful situation. It's something which asks for immediate action and focus. Mars Moon also means courage to overcome difficulties. So you see here, if we see this whole cluster of energies, and then I showed you this one already, midheaven opposing Uranus, but also T-squaring Saturn here, and here is the midpoint Sun. Another there's a few points which do not show in this chart. I will show them here again. That is all the extra points. It just gets too complex to show them all, I guess. Anyway, what I want to point out is this cluster here. Nessus, Spheroids and Helonome. That's again the relationship chart, the midpoint chart. Nessus is a difficult energy. It's about very dark and difficult experiences like this would be. Spheroids is a powerful force, and Helonome is related to sacrifice, so it could indicate that this is allowed to happen overall naturally. If we see it in the astrological chart, we always can say this has been allowed by existence to occur. It should be seen as a final wake-up call to get everyone onto the same page, to understand and what the serious situation we are in here on this planet, and get over and done with all that silly stuff we are bombarded with on a daily basis. So it could really go in that direction. I'm strongly hoping for. So what I want to point out is these three mid-Leo, and now we go back to this chart here, and that would be in this outer chart in the midpoints at 15 degrees Leo. That is where the transiting sun is. That's where Mars and Pluto are in the natal chart of China. Now, yep, this is one more chart I was pulling up. This is the aphelion chart again of July 4th. I have also overlaid this with the Chinese natal chart to show if we have any strong contacts here, and sure enough we do. So the midheaven for Three Gorges Dam, in that moment when Earth was farthest from Earth, which would set the codes for what's to occur, was exactly 90 degrees above the nation's ascendant descendant, which would indicate that this place is of central focus, that whatever happens there will affect the whole nation. Also, what is standing out is that at that point, July the 4th, when this all was encoded, the sun was squaring Neptune and that whole stellium here, while the moon was opposing the nation's Uranus and squaring Mars here. This Mars-Moon square, that's another one which is globally active for the whole next 6 months. So that's not just for Wuhan and China, I should say, but it is in general showing that there's a general unrest, upset, people coming to their power. That's another aspect of this Moon-Mars square, of finding our voice. So I want to leave it at this. I hope this information gets out as a warning. I would hope that as many people as possible should evacuate from this area as if they can at all. We hope there's some official warning coming out, that the authorities realize the danger and don't downplay it to the last minute and start acting on it. And we still are hopeful, very hopeful, that this is all not materializing. Nothing has to materialize in the end if we really change the energies, if we stop the rains from coming down, that's the main thing. If we can manage to get them to stop their weather modification projects and let the water calm down again, let the water levels in that dam slowly go down to normal. So that's what we're praying, what we're hoping for. Thanks for tuning in and listening, and please share this information if you feel like, and hopefully we can talk about better stuff again very soon. Thanks for joining. Love you all.